Hello, my name is Gray.
And my name is Crystal.
And this is Bust the Asian Beauties, a supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show several times,
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
today we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 22, All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2, written by Eric Kripke, directed by Kim Manners.
I hope Eric Kripke dies forever and ever, amen.
Amen.
Wait, is that against Spotify's terms and conditions?
Who cares?
Who cares? Eric Kripke is against Spotify's terms and conditions.
Exactly. Okay. So, I mean, you know what? Let's leave all our thoughts and opinions at the end so that people have something to look forward to.
Sure, yeah.
And let's start with, what did you know about this episode, Crystal, before watching it?
So I knew that this was the episode where Dean's gonna make the demon deal to bring Sam back to life, and he'll only get like a year to live, and he's gonna lie to Sam about making the deal. I knew that there was some kind of plot that involved opening the gates of hell and releasing a bunch of demons, but I didn't really know how that would go down. I knew that Azazel was gonna get shot with the Colt and die. I thought it was gonna be Sam who did it for some reason, but it wasn't. And then I knew that Jake was going to be killed in a very dehumanizing manner, but I don't think that really prepared me for how bad it was going to be.
Yeah. Fuck this episode, man.
Fuck this episode.
It's truly astounding how bad it is. And yes, it's bad for obvious reasons, like the racism. But it's also bad for the less obvious reasons. Well, I mean, they're pretty obvious still, like the John parts. Like, it's so incredibly funny.
I started screaming.
Literally.
The funniest thing that ever happened on all of television.
We'll get into it when we get into it. But there was a scene after John showed up that literally had me screaming and crying. Like, it was so incredibly funny. And I will dunk on it when we get to it. So You guys just wait. Yeah. So we start with our road so far. Carry on, my wayward son. The very first thing that they say is about the cult, which I was like, wait, am I watching the wrong one? Am I on season 1? But apparently not. They just start with the cult, because the cult is gonna feature prominently in this episode. So, yeah. I mean,
Sure
do you
is.
have anything to say about this season 2 road so far for this episode?
Not really. I think it was funny that the opening, like, scenes are just, like, a bunch of Sam and Dean spinning around and pointing guns at people. Like, it's just like, by the way, this is a show where the men point guns at people.
Exactly. Like, the only season finale that we've watched so far is this in season 1. So, it's impossible to not compare the two. They are so far from each other, and you can feel it instantly, like, the moment you watch the road so far.
Yeah.
They are so differing in quality. Like, the drop-off of the quality of the finale from season 1 and 2 is so intense. And, like, you watch the road so far and you're like, oh yeah, that's true, immediately. Because I remember, like, watching the road so far from season 1, and we had our, like, list of, like, things
like
that we thought were good about
moments.
it. Yeah, good moments in the road so far. And this one is like, it's a road so far. Whatever.
Yeah. things happened, plot was summarized, guns were pointed.
Exactly. So yeah. That's over now. We start with Dean hanging out in a room. Where this is quite unclear, right?
Yeah, I assumed it was like South Oak, or sorry, what is it called? The place they were at, the South Dakota place, Cold Oak.
Cold Oak, yeah, South Dakota.
Yeah.
I assumed it was one of the houses there.
Yeah, same.
But like, how far is it from? Can you look it up? How far is South Dakota from like Bobby's house?
Where is Bobby? Wait, Cold Oak isn't a real place.
No! How devastating!
Bobby lives in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so it's in the same state.
Okay.
And since we don't know where Cold Oak is due to it not existing, it could be
we can assume it's
anywhere.
Very near. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dean and Sam are inside a room, except Sam is lying dead on a futon. Is that what that's called?
I don't know what he was
A mattress.
On.
Whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And Bobby comes in and he's telling Dean, you should eat. And Dean looks completely fucking distressed. He's very sad. He looks like numb.
Yeah, he looks like me when I have computer science homework.
Exactly. This is equivalent to having computer science homework.
Agree.
Yeah, Bobby is telling him he should go eat. Dean is like, I'm fine, I don't need to eat. And then at some point, he goes and like drinks some whiskey, and Bobby looks at him concerned and goes, I don't want to be the one to bring this up, but do you think maybe we should bury Sam?
How bad do you think this old house smells at this point?
We have talked about this in the podcast in the past, but like I have no idea how decomposition like happens like timeline wise.
Yeah,
but like,
also there's no AC in this house, and Sam's not like on ice.
Yeah, like first of all, he's rotting, so there's like blood for sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's rotting. Period. There's blood. Period. And like when I'm pretty sure when you die, you lose control of your faculties. So
so he
has shit his pants.
Himself.
Yeah, exactly. And so it must fucking stink in there.
Yeah, you lift him up from the futon and it's brown stains everywhere, baby.
Yeah. Dean says no. Bobby is like, okay, maybe we could. And then Dean is like, what, burn his body, torch his corpse? Also no. And it's just a hunter's funeral is a pyre, right?
Yeah.
But like, what's the deal? He doesn't want to do that because it's like,
because if you burn him, he can't.
He will never come back. Yeah.
And he doesn't have a body to return to in any other way.
Can't you resurrect someone who's already ashes?
Well, yes, in later seasons, but, you know, they have more limited rules they're working with right now.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't have Rowena's spell to resurrect Eileen at this point.
Anyway, Bobby tells Dean to, like, come with him. But Dean says no again. And Bobby just says, like, I just don't want you to be alone. And I could use your help because whatever this is, whatever is happening, it's gonna be big. And we need to stop it. And Dean's like, don't you think I've already given enough? Don't you think I've paid enough? Shit like that. And that he's done with it.
I know we're supposed to care and stuff.
I was laughing. I was like, this is so
little
incredibly funny.
overacty.
Yeah.
And also, maybe I just don't care enough. But yeah.
Yeah, he pushes Bobby, and um, he was like yelling, like, go, go! And then he was pushing Bobby. And then Bobby's just standing there. And then Dean goes like, sorry, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And Bobby turns around and leaves. And we cut to our splash screen.
Yeah. Also, Bobby said, like, whatever's going down is end of the world big. And Dean, like, yells, well, then let it end!
I forgot about that. You're right.
And Bobby says, you don't mean that in the exact same cadence as you don't mean that, Sammy, in that one TikTok that recreates the plot of season 6.
You don't mean that, Sammy.
It's such a good TikTok. It's not even that good, but it's so good.
You know what? I've told you this, but
yes,
as a promise to the podcast listeners as well, the moment me and Crystal meet in real life, we 100% would recreate like a plot line from Supernatural. And I would play Dean because I'm shorter, and Crystal would play Sam. And we'll hire someone to play Cass. Misha Collins will come and play Cass for us.
Misha Collins himself, yes. Also, when Bobby leaves, like, Dean looks at Sam's corpse and a single man tear falls down his face. It's all very dramatic. And
you know what?
I guess he probably didn't want to cry in front of Bobby. What?
All I'm thinking of during this scene was like, oh, I wonder which one of us, like Crystal or me, will get the scene where he's monologuing in front of Sam's dead body. Because I was like, I wish it's not me. I don't want to fucking talk about that.
Well, I'm taking the Jake scene next, so have fun.
I was like, when that scene showed up, and I was like doing the computation in my head of like, wait, which scene? Whose scene is this? And it's like, no, it's gonna be mine.
Sorry.
Because, like, this scene is already, like, so overacted. And I don't remember much from the monologue, so I could just assume it's gonna be this vibe as well. And I was like, no. That's gonna be, And it was. It was.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe, like, this, we would, like, be screaming and crying over this in a different way if we were still in season 1 or something. But at this point, I feel like Dean's main, like, personality traits and conflicts have been reiterated so many times before.
Yeah.
That, like, we don't need it anymore. Like, we just had 220 where he gave the haven't I given enough speech to John's grave.
Yeah.
Like, we get the, like, I'm your big brother and I'm supposed to take care of you stuff, like, at the end of, like, the very, like, at the end of Obel Part 1 and also, like, all throughout Everywhere Always.
Yeah.
Like, we're good. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we cut to the woods where Jake is. He's, like, camping out next to a tent and he has a fire. And he just looks like the best little boy ever. So he starts drifting off, and he has a dream where Azazel appears to him and congratulates him on winning. Azazel says that, like, Jake isn't the one that he thought was gonna win. He wasn't really the one he was rooting for, but hey, we're here now. Azazel
what an asshole.
is an asshole. Yeah, and Jake just says, like, go to hell. I am, like, going to track you down and kill you. He says specifically, everything you put me through, dragging me to that place, making me kill those people. And he's, like, clearly really upset about all of it. Because he's a good boy.
Yeah.
And See, I just don't understand what they're trying to do with Jake this episode. Because, like,
Exactly.
it's cutting back and forth between him being, like, the most reasonable, sympathetic guy in the world to Sam being like, I'm going to slaughter that son of a bitch. And then at the end, when, like, Jake comes face to face with them, he's, like, suddenly,
becomes,
like,
yeah.
weird evil. Like, okay?
And it's
I don't
like,
get it.
throughout this episode, I was thinking, did Eric Kripke read the script that Sarah Gamble wrote for last episode? Like, did they just not agree with what Jake was going to become? Because, like,
I think Kripke agrees with what Jake is going to become, because the Jake at the end is so jarringly different from all those scenes with Jake alone or with Azazel.
Yeah. As in, to the point that at the last part,
I thought he was possessed.
Exactly, I thought he was possessed, and I was thinking, how is he possessed? Then he couldn't enter, right? And like, that was the plot. That was like the way my brain was trying to rationalize what I was seeing, because he was a completely different guy. And the way they were like, oh, like, because I can control my powers now, I'm evil now. Like,
right, like in the last, 1 hour between the last time we saw him and now?
Exactly.
My god. Yeah. So he's upset. He didn't want to do it. He was forced in there based off of circumstance. And I don't think anyone put in a death game should be blamed that much for anything they did there. So, yeah. Azazel says that I have plans for you. Jake does the whole I'm gonna hunt you down and kill you thing. And Azazel says, like, it's not gonna happen. You want to be a good little soldier, because if you're not, that dear old mom of yours and that adorable little sister, I'll make certain that they both live long enough to know the chewy taste of their own intestines. Yikes. Like, he couldn't just do the ceiling stab and on fire thing? Like,
yeah.
You need special edition here? Alright, racist. So, yeah, so Jake eventually is like, okay, yeah, what do you want me to do? I'll do it. Oh, God.
Okay.
And Azazel pats Jake's cheek and says, like,
you're a
like
genius.
I said, you're a genius. It's icky. I'm sorry, Jake.
And now... and now to my dreaded scene. So, we have Dean mourning Sam. I feel so bad being like, oh, this scene sucks, I don't want to talk about it. But, like, if you watch it, it's, like, it's really eye-rolly, the acting for this portion, right?
I mean, it depends on who the you is. I'm sure the Dean girls love it still.
Yeah, I suppose so. And, like, you know me, I'm the Dean girl of the podcast. So, I don't know. I was trying, let's just say that. I was trying to get into it, but I couldn't look at Jensen Ackles' face. Which is unfortunately the focus of this entire scene. But Dean is talking, and he's saying that, like, when we were little, you were 5 years old, and you kept asking questions, like, why didn't we have a mom? Why is dad away all the time? And I just kept saying, like, quit it, Sammy. Stop asking. You don't want to know. Because he just wanted to protect Sam, and he wanted to keep Sam safe and stuff. And he wanted him to be a kid. And at some point he says, like, Dad didn't even have to tell me that you were my responsibility. I just knew it. Okay, it's making me sad now. Like, now that I'm talking about it. I mean, like, just the concept of John being like, he's your responsibility. Like, you shouldn't do that. But the concept that Dean internalized it so much that, like, he didn't even have to think, like, oh, it's my responsibility because someone told me to it. He just thinks it's my responsibility because it is. That's just what it is. That's just the status quo.
That's what being told as a 4-year-old to take your 6-month-old brother out of a burning building while your dad stays behind to yell at the ceiling does to you, I think.
Yeah. He did not live a normal life. But essentially, Dean thinks this entire thing is his fault because he wasn't able to protect Sam. And he just keeps thinking, I let you down, and how am I supposed to live with that? What am I supposed to do? And this is the part where I was like, oh, when he was like, what am I supposed to do? It was funny, and that was the part where I was like, okay, calm it down, Mr. Jackals. But another complaint I had about this scene that I thought of at the time was like, my god, even Sam's death is about Dean.
Yeah.
I felt that way. Now that we're talking about it, it's like, I mean, yeah, because, I have this, like, thing where, when people are like, why bother, like, going to funerals?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like the dead person knows that people are coming to their funeral. They're dead, or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not about the dead person. It's about the people who are grieving, who are left behind. So, like, I tried to placate myself by thinking that, like, it's not about the dad. It's about the people who are grieving, who are left behind. But, like, I think it applies a little bit less in a TV show. In this format.
Especially in a TV show where we get to see the afterlife a bunch later on. Like, you could just cut to Sam hanging out in the Vale. Or, okay, when Dean died in the first episode of this season, it was all about him. So I think if Sam's dead, he should get to be a ghost hanging around as Dean yells.
Yeah. And I mean, they fixed that one by, like, being like, Dean doesn't even remember. I mean, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Sam
he was
forget.
just... Yeah. Yeah. So that's my complaint about this scene. But I think it would have been moving if it wasn't... If this season wasn't so bad. Because I do genuinely think season 2 is bad. And it's bad because it doesn't have equal footing or an equal mix of who gets to be the prominent character. Mm-hmm. It's like they forget that they have 2 main characters. And, like, it shows in this episode as well. Like, it's Dean who gets to do everything. It's Dean who gets to mourn, sell his soul, keep Sam in the dark, kill Azazel, It's Dean everything. And, like, the only thing we get of Sam is literally racism. Like, literally the only...
Yeah.
They tried to justify it by being like, is the Sam that's back the real Sam?
But
Would
they
the
never,
real
like,
Sam...
actually do anything with that later, right?
Yeah, they were like, what if this is not the real Sam because he's so fucking brutal? And they were like, nah, it's the real Sam.
Nah, he's just racist.
It's just like this for real.
Like, okay, cool. Yeah. Where is Sam right now? Like, how many days has it been? Like, would he have made it past the veil into heaven or hell by now?
I mean, do you think Sam would be the type of person to accept death? Like, would he be like Dean, who's like, you should never succumb to death? And, like, you should stay around and, like, be strong because strength will keep you alive or whatever the fuck. Or do you think... I mean, given that Sam has already died, because, like, Dean was in a coma, right? Because he wasn't he was trying to evade the veil or whatever.
Yeah.
But because Sam is dead, does that mean
that he said yes to the Reaper already? Maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I just find that unrealistic because, like, what if you get crushed by, like, an anvil? Like, of course you're gonna die instantly. There's no time for the veil shit. Like,
Yeah.
You're just dead. I feel like that's what happened with Sam.
Okay, yeah, he just died instantly. So, did he insta go to heaven or hell then?
Do you think he went to hell?
I don't know. Because, Supernatural, uses biology as pretty much the primary determinant for where you go, and he does have demon
Oh my
blood.
god. Oh yeah.
So, that's a bit confusing. But also, in Dark Side of the Moon or whatever, doesn't Ash say, oh, you
They've
guys
been in
have
heaven
here
several
a
times.
bunch,
Yeah.
you just don't remember each time, so maybe this is one of
Maybe
Sam's
he is
times.
in heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, by you guys have been in heaven a bunch, he just means mystery spot. Like, Dean was popping in and out every 2 seconds. Yeah. Well, Sam's lying there. So, after Dean does his whole yelly shit, we cut to the Impala, and he is driving. There's, this instrumental piece that's, guitar with violin over it, or something.
It's percussive almost.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is putting together a Crossroads Demon summoning box. And he buries it, and he waits a while, and then he starts yelling, "Show your face, you bitch!"
I mean, I really like the camera work in this scene. As I do. It's like the camera is swiveling around, and you think the demon is gonna show up, but it doesn't, and then it swivels around again, and you think the demon is gonna show up, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fun. And then when she finally shows up, it's because Dean is screaming bitch as he does.
Yeah. Right. Ugh, I don't... Is this a misogyny point? Who cares?
Who cares? There are more crimes in this episode.
Yeah, there are way worse crimes in this episode. So, yeah, a demon shows up, and she is not the same Crossroads demon as the last one who was here. Or maybe she's the same one in a different vessel, because Dean exorcised her last time. So, per the usual, she's wearing her sexy, sexy black dress, cleavage out, as supernatural women do. And she has, a weird sexual energy, around Dean, where she keeps, walking close to him and talking in his ear and shit. And, sure, fine, I get it a little bit, because if a deal is sealed with a kiss, every, almost kiss or intimidation into a kiss is sort of, equivalent to her, pressuring him into a deal. But it's still odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. She, tells him that it's good to see him. And she's like, I'm getting, so turned on by how terribly you fucked up your entire family, Dean. Please, take me now. So, yeah, and Dean's like, I'm here to make a deal, bring Sam back from the dead, and you can get my soul, because a bunch of demons want it, and then just give me 10 years. And the demon's like, that's fucking stupid, I'm not giving you that amount of time. And Dean, keeps bargaining, he goes down to 5 eventually. And he says, that's my last offer. And she's like, nah, no deal. And starts walking away. But eventually Dean's like, okay, wait. Just, fine, you decide. And she says, I shouldn't be doing this. But, fine. Let's just do it. Let's just do a deal. I'll bring him back, and I'll give you only 1 year. But if you try to get your way out of the deal, then I will kill Sam on the spot. And Dean kisses her. So, it's a deal.
What's fascinating to me is when John gave his life for Dean, it actually felt like the one selfless thing he did for his children.
Yeah.
But this one reeks of selfishness. Like, the whole point of this, especially because of the speech that he gives prior, where it's like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to feel that I failed you? Like, it reeks of like, oh, I'm keeping you alive for myself, and none of it is actually for you or for your enjoyment. Like, I'm gonna die in a year, and you're gonna have absolutely no one except aside from Bobby, maybe, who will also probably die in a couple of years. Let's be honest. And then you have no life to go back to. Your girlfriend's dad. You have a criminal record.
Prison recently.
Yeah, like you will have no life to come back to, and you won't have a brother anymore, who is at this point like the only person in your life. And it's like Dean was like, no, it's fine. It's fine if he's miserable, as long as I don't get to feel guilty. Yeah. And it's like, well, you're kind of a dick, Dean.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Sam couldn't have a life he was happy with after this, but it'd be hard, and I don't think Dean's really taking that into account. Also, what are the rules of demon kisses? Like, does it have to be with tongue? Because this one's long.
I mean, the kiss between Bobby and Crowley allegedly had tongue.
So tongue is a requirement. I see.
Yeah, I see. Back in the motel. Is this a motel?
No.
It may be. Back in the room. Back in the room. Sam's eyes open. And he's alive. And he, like, goes towards the mirror and looks at his body. And he looks at his back. And it's apparently, like, still very painful. But he's checking it out. And there's no wound. Right?
Is there not?
Or is there a wound? It just looks fixed. Oh, okay.
But it looks pretty healed over.
Yeah. And
he's so Laz Rising core for doing this.
Yeah. I'm sad that, like, when Dean was resurrected, it was such a whole ordeal. And I mean, I love it. I love that episode so much for many reasons. But when Sam gets resurrected, it's like, it's barely been like half the episode. And
yeah, because it's like the last episode of the season instead of Dean's resurrection being the first episode of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why, I mean, I said this before last time, but I kind of wish they made last episode the last episode of the season and made this the beginner of the next season, right?
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to have Sam be dead for a while in terms of audience time, you know?
Right. But I guess there was
this was airing.
Buy-in at this point because it was only season 2, so they were worried no one was going to come back.
Because their beloved Sammy has died.
Yes.
So true. Maybe I'm not thinking thievy enough. I'm not there yet. Okay. So Dean comes in and he's like, "Oh my god, you're alive!" And he hugs Sam, and Sam is like, "Ouch! Youch! Ouchie!" Because it's very painful. But he asks Dean, like, what happened to him, and Dean asks what he remembers, and he says he just saw him and Bobby, as in Dean and Bobby. They were running towards him. He felt a hot searing pain, Well, did he say that? He said he felt a sharp pain, like cold. Or did he say it
White
was
hot.
hot? It was white hot. Okay. So he says that he felt this pain like white hot, and then Dean just started running, and that's it. And Dean is like, yeah, the kid stabbed you, and you lost a lot of blood. And it was pretty difficult. It was touch and go for a bit. And Sam was like, could you even patch up a wound that bad? And Dean's like, Bobby can. So,
Respect your elders, Sam. Get over it.
yeah. And Sam asked, like, the kid's name is Jake. Did he escape?
Well, he
And-
said, did you get him? Fuck
Oh.
off, Sam.
Did you, yeah, did you get him? And Dean says, no, he disappeared into the woods. And then Sam is like, we gotta find him, Dean. I'm gonna fucking tear that son of a bitch apart. And it shocked me. I
Yeah.
literally was shocked when this scene happened. Because, like, I know Jake killed him.
Yeah, but like, whatever?
He literally treated those, like, fucking vampires better than this guy.
Yeah.
And this guy is already human to him. Like,
Right.
he's human in that he's human. And also, he has been humanized in that they know each
They
other.
were hanging out. They were friends for a
And, like,
bit.
he knows Jake's motivations. And if it was like, we need to stop him because he's bound to do something bad for the demons.
Yeah.
That's gonna be more reasonable than, like, I want revenge because he fucking stabbed me. Oh no. And I almost died. Oh my
Wow,
god.
my back hurts. Like, get
I
over
have
it.
back pain. Oh, fuck off, Sam.
Fuck off, Sam. This is just like 8 years early. Like, you'll have to get used to back pain anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's just no reason to kill Jake. Like, he's not dangerous, and, like, Sam knows that his intentions are good. Like, the only thing you'd want to do is maybe stay away from him if you think he's gonna try to kill you again. Ugh.
She shows more empathy for, like, what's her name? Ava.
Mm.
Having murdered someone directly in front of him.
And
And,
murdered, like, dozens of people before that.
Yeah, and also, like, is pretty much assuredly evil at that point. He was, like,
Yeah.
still hesitant to kill her exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And yet with Jake, it's like, no, murder is the only answer, and we have to tear this son of a bitch apart. And it's like, it. And I know, like, I don't know.
Also, like,
It's
very
horrible.
End of last episode, like, Jake attempted to kill Sam, and then Sam had the chance to kill Jake, and he still didn't. So, like, what has changed? Does back pain
That was-
really do that to you?
Yeah, maybe it does. But the thing that they were trying to do this episode was like, oh, Sam is dangerous now that he's back because he's not back as himself. He's
Yeah.
back as some creature.
Yeah.
Fuck off. You don't even commit to that.
Yeah, like, Azazel does the whole thing, and Dean's like, meh. And he doesn't, like, give Sam any suspicious looks or anything at the end of the episode. And as far as I'm aware, in season 3, it's never a plot point that Sam's brought back wrong.
Yeah.
So...
It's more of a plot point that Dean is brought back wrong.
Yeah. It's weird. So...
Anyway,
yeah.
Dean is like, oh, we're just gonna eat, like, calm down. And so they go to eat, right? And then at in between that and the next scene, Sam relays what has happened in the kill town. And so Dean is like, poor Andy.
Dean Andy
and, like,
real.
Dean Andy real number one. But the second thing I thought of was like, Ava is a victim too. And
She
you're
is.
this I know she
Also,
turned out
what
evil.
about Lily? She died.
Yeah. Literally everyone in that scenario was a fucking victim. And Dean only had eyes for Andy. Literally, what's the joke?
You as a man?
Why are you as a man only
for
thinking
Andy?
about Andy Gallagher?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sam realized that like the demon said he wanted to walk he only wanted one of us to walk out alive, and Dean is like, oh, he talked to you. Sam says, in a dream. Dean says, he tell you anything else? And Sam says, no, nothing else. He told me nothing else. He didn't say anything else. In the worst
why are you asking me questions, Dean? What the fuck? Maybe the demon talked to you in a dream and said that you had demon blood. Have you considered that, Dean? Huh?
Literally.
Why do you think he's keeping this from him?
Well, maybe it scared him a bit. Like,
Yeah.
I have demon blood. Also, like, I didn't really connect that it was the demon blood he was hiding for a little bit. I thought he was hiding the fact that Mary knew the demon.
Oh, yeah, that could be part of it.
That is even more confusing. Like, why would he hide that? And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, no. He's hiding the blood demon part. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But, like, at this point, just tell Dean. Like, just tell him, you know?
Yeah, like, you know he's not gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Or, I don't think that was ever a major fear. It was maybe a desire at points. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just a lot to take in, and he doesn't want to tell Dean until he's done processing it himself, I guess, but we don't really get much of Sam's internal life here, so I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, Sam thinks, like, if Jake got away, then I got away, then the demon was wrong, and both of us got away instead of just one of us. So, like, why is that? And Dean, it's Dean's turn to hide something. And he's like, well, they left you for dead. They probably thought it was over. What's he gonna do with Jake? And then Sam does the whole, like, we gotta stop him. Whatever it is, we gotta stop him. And then, you know, it's the whole thing again where Dean's like, no, wait up. Can't you just take care of yourself for a little bit? It's not the apocalypse yet. And this is the part where Sam asks about the roadhouse, and Dean has to say that it has been burned to the ground because of demons, and Ash was like looking for something, blah blah blah. And so Sam says, well, we gotta go to Bobby's. It's near here, which, you know, now that we know it's in South Dakota, yeah, it's probably near.
Also, Dean says Ash is dead, and probably Ellen too. And I know that they know that Joe is not at the roadhouse anymore, but can you just spare a quick thought for her? Has anyone told her yet?
No, exactly.
Like, if they think Ellen is dead, they need to call Joe. Like, Ellen probably has called Joe already, so it's fine. But in their universe, where Ash and Ellen are dead and the roadhouse is burned down, like, fucking call Joe.
That's her mother, and that's her home. Like, fucking call her. Yeah. And then Dean is like, why can't you just take care of yourself? Why do we have to go to Bobby's? But Sam insists. So they go to Bobby's.
Yeah, so Bobby opens the door, and Sam and Dean are there, and Bobby's like, what the motherfuck? 'Cause Dean didn't even text in advance.
Yeah. Hey, heads up, the dead person that you left behind is now alive.
Yeah, just so you know. Like, I'm surprised that he didn't do, like, any kind of holy water or, like, silver blade test on Sam, because, you know, that's probably what you would assume first.
But, like, maybe he's assuming that because Dean is, like, talking to this guy.
Yeah, that he's already done the tests. Yeah. So, right. They greet each other and they go in. It's Bobby, like, looking at Dean like, bro. And Dean's just like, well, Sam's better and we're back in it now, so what do you know? What's a fella to do?
What's a fella to do?
So, Bobby shows them a map, and he says that there have been a bunch of sudden demonic omens happening everywhere, except for in southern Wyoming. Almost as if the demons are surrounding it. And he tells Sam to just look at the map alone as an excuse to go and talk to Dean alone. So they go out to the junkyard, and do you want this? You seem to care about this scene.
I mean, not really. This is the part of the episode where you texted me, like, in the middle of the episode that you were like, I just feel like I don't want to be watching this anymore. And this is the part of the episode where I was like, yeah, me too. Like, I don't really want to be watching this anymore. Which, okay, to our audience, right? Like, I just want to say, I find it annoying when other people do the thing where they're like, we're doing a podcast, but we hate the show. And, like, I want you to know that I still love Supernatural. We're just going through a rough patch right now.
Yeah, so, Supernatural sleeping on the couch right now, but once they clean up their act and get cast back, it'll be better.
Yeah, like, Supernatural and I are at our divorce era, but we will remarry, so... okay, I'll take the scene.
Alright.
So, Bobby comes out, Dean comes out. Oh my god, happy LGBT day. What? That joke is so bad. But, anyway, Dean and Bobby go out to the yard. And Bobby's like, you stupid ass! What did you do? What did you do? And then he was like, you made a deal for Sammy, didn't you? How long did they give you? And Dean confesses that they gave him a year. And Bobby goes like, damn it, Dean. Which is the only thing I thought of. Was like, that's a Cass line. Bobby, you're stealing Cass's lines. He's the one who's supposed to say, damn it, Dean, in like season 9 or something. But Dean is like, I mean, now that I have nothing to lose, now that I have just a year left, I guess I'll have to kill the demon, right? Like, I literally will be dead in a year, so I have nothing to lose. And Bobby is very angry. He's like, I can throttle you. And Dean is being snarky and being like, oh, what? Send me ahead of schedule. But, like, the dialogue is, like, a bit, like, you know, fun. But, like, the scene is very sad.
Yeah.
Like, Bobby is, like, holding him by the neck like a cat. And then at some point, he, like, holds his face. And it does make you very sad.
Yeah, that's his kid.
Yeah. At some point, he says, like, oh my god, I'm tearing up. Insane behavior. But Bobby says, what is it with you, Winchesters? You're just, like, fucking so ready to throw yourselves into the pit. Like, first your dad, now you. And Dean says, that's the point, Bobby. Like, Dad wasn't even... I'm not even supposed to be here because Dad just sold his soul for me to be here. So at least something good can come out of it. And Bobby says, what? Like, there wasn't anything good in it before? Ah! Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he asks, like, why is your opinion on yourself so low? Blah, blah, blah.
He's and then Dean that screwed in the head.
And he is, Bobby. Like, I don't know if you know this, Bobby, but he is that screwed in the head. And Dean says, like, I couldn't let him die. I just couldn't. He's my brother. And Bobby says, how is your brother going to know that you're going to hell because of him? And Dean says, like, you can't tell him. Please don't tell him. You can take a shot of me, whatever you want to do. But please don't tell him.
Yeah. And this is in Crossroad Blues, right? Dean confronts the guy who sold his soul for his wife who was dying of cancer. And he was like, I think you did it for yourself so you wouldn't have to live without her, but guess what? She's going to have to live without you now. Like, how do you think she'd feel when she knew that it, like, cost your soul? So, you know, this is sort of Bobby reiterating that. But Dean, of course, has double standards. But, I mean, don't all of us, like, I'd be pissed if someone sold their soul for me, but, like, I would, like, definitely sell my soul for, like, a handful of people to have, like, a good week. So, yeah,
well,
I get it.
I just think because the computation doesn't add up. So you have one soul in hell already.
Yeah.
Because he thinks the two souls are gonna go to heaven. But now you have two souls in hell because those two people thought that one soul is going to heaven. So Sam. So, like, it just doesn't add up. You know what I mean?
There's also time on Earth that matters. But, yeah, I guess since hell is for eternity, then it maybe weighted
maybe
higher.
Now it does add up because apparently John is in heaven now.
Boo!
Incredibly funny scene. So maybe it was worth it just for being funny. Also, isn't it so funny that, like, for the longest time I didn't know that John was in heaven. I thought he was still in hell. Yeah. And then now it's like in the most forgettable season finale of the entire show.
Yeah.
Because this is, right? Like, I can name what happens in every other season finale of the show.
I mean, we can name what happens in this one, too. Like, Dean makes a deal and all the demons come out.
I know that Dean makes a deal, but, like, that's literally the only thing. And that's the beginning of the season finale. So, like, that's not the finale. Like, I know that season 9, Dean, like, opens his eyes and he becomes a demon. And then, like, I know everything else for every other season, but this one, and you ask me, like, how does the season end? Like, what's the last shot of the season? I don't fucking know. I think it's the most forgettable one. Easily. Do you not think so? Or you have no opportunity to forget yet?
At the end of, like, 10. Like, they killed Death at some point, but, like...
Yeah, they killed Death at some point.
I don't know how it ends.
They released the fucking darkness.
Oh, for real?
I think so, yeah.
Because they created all the problems in season 11 that they have to solve.
Yeah. I think maybe that's the reason why this episode was bad, because the thing that is good about it, which is, like, resurrecting Sam, the thing that is memorable, happens in the first quarter of the episode. So maybe that's why it's, like, you're, like, halfway through and you're like, I don't want to be watching this anymore. The good stuff's over.
Yeah, maybe.
And they kill here the main villain of the first 2 seasons. And you're like, whatever. Who cares?
I mean, that's why they had to release 200 more demons so that they could get funding for season 3.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but also, I feel like Dean just also thinks that Sam doesn't need him as much as Dean needs Sam, which is true. But I think he also thinks that Sam doesn't love him as much as Dean loves Sam, which I don't think is true.
I think that's an incredibly self-centered thing to think for literally any relationship. And as I've said earlier, I think Dean is incredibly selfish for what he's done. So, makes sense. as we're just about to get to the emotional part here. So like Bobby is like crying, Dean is crying, Bobby is holding his face. And like you think, oh no, are they gonna hug? That's so sad. But there's a sound and then they're like and they go hide at the cars, blah blah blah. But the sound turns out to be Ellen.
Good for her.
And
so we are back inside Bobby's, and he like gives her a shot glass full of holy water to test that she's not a demon. And for some reason she seems kind of resistant to like taking the shot, but she
do you think this holy water tastes disgusting?
Possibly. Like all old water tastes kind of gross, so...
Yeah, like, is this filtered? Is this tap water? Is this, like, water from, like, a fucking tank? What's the deal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, didn't John make holy water by putting a rosary in a tank?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, maybe Bobby just got some tap water and then put a rosary in it.
Exactly. Do you you're not Catholic, right?
No.
You're not. Yeah.
I'm not anything.
But yeah. Cuz like at our house there's like we have holy water. Mm-hmm. And like I feel like in every like Filipino Catholic house there's always this thing. But it's like a screw top bottle where the bottle is shaped like Mama Mary.
Aww.
Maybe I should drink from it just to see what it tastes like. Yeah. I will not. I'm sorry. I am committed to the podcast, but not that committed.
So, yeah, she explains that they burned down the whole roadhouse, and she was intended to be murdered too, but coincidentally, she was out on a pretzel run at the time. And Ash called her super panicked and said to check the safe in the basement, and then she came back and everyone was dead. And she doesn't mention Joe at all here either. Where's Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just like, I don't know, forget her.
I
don't even know if she shows up in season 3.
Oh, really?
I mean, possibly, right? She has to. She shows up in 4, of course.
Doesn't Dean try to pull the last night on Earth on her? Is that related to his demon deal in season 3, or is that a season
Didn't he already pull that?
Oh, did he already?
Like last time, the first time they met?
Oh, maybe.
No,
that was
he pulls that. I think in season 5. It's the same. It's the same episode as the shots episode, I think.
Oh, okay, I see. So she managed to rescue what was in the safe, and it is a map of Wyoming with some lines on it.
Incredibly funny.
Yep. Ash died for this.
Ash literally died for this. He turned into Ash for this.
Oh. No. Yeah, so Bobby, lore dumps a bit. So apparently each of the X's on the map is an old frontier church that was built by Samuel Colt. And then he built railway lines connecting all of the churches such that they formed a devil's trap, which means that all these railway lines were intersecting with each other and all the trains crashed into each other and everyone died. So yeah, it forms a devil's trap, and since it's made out of iron, that means that no demons can cross anywhere here. And it's huge. It's all of Wyoming. And it definitely still works because none of the demons have been able to touch southern Wyoming yet. And Dean says that the only thing he can find that's in the middle is some old cemetery. So they're all wondering what was Samuel Colt trying to protect in there, or what was he trying to keep in? Dun dun dun. And Bobby's like, I don't think any full-blood demon could get across those lines to go inside. And Sam's like, oh, I know what Jake is going to be tasked with.
So we go to Jake, who is now just like driving, and he stops by the railroad. Yet the Yellow Eyes is there. Azazel is there. And
when do we even learn Azazel's name? Because he's dead by the end of this, and we still don't know his
I
name.
know. I was waiting for it, and it's like, nope, they're not gonna mention it. I think there's like a little bit of lore about how demon names are like super important. So like they were trying to not say Azazel's name because of that.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really remember it that well. But I think that's the reason why they don't say his name. But, he tells Jake that 50 miles ahead, there's a crypt. And they need Jake to open that crypt. And Jake is like, go do it yourself. Fuck you. Why do you want me to do it? And Azazel says like, well, I can't, which now we know is because of the star.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a star. What's it called?
A pentagram?
A pentagram, because of the Pentagram Railroad. He says like, if you're gonna open that crypt though, you need a key. And he hands Jake the gun, and he says, this is the only gun that can kill me. It's the Colt, by the way.
Yeah.
He hands it. This is the only thing in the universe that can shoot me dead. And Jake is like, is that so? And then he takes it, and of course, obviously, he points the gun at the yellow-eyed demon. And Azazel is like doing the whole like, well, you can shoot me, and you can go back to normal, except you can't go back to the military because you've gone AWOL, and maybe they'll let you back in the factory, but if you let me continue, if you do what I tell you to do, and it's just super simple, you just open a crypt, you and your family will live a luxurious life, and you will be royalty. And I just think, why is this the thing that...
Yeah. Like, he started with, I'm going to kill your mom and sister, and, like, he ends at, I will make sure your mom and sister get to eat ice cream. Like...
Exactly. And it's like, I think a reasonable thing to be said here is, you can kill me, but I'm not the only demon in the fucking world.
And I'm important in hell, and they will go after your family anyway.
Yeah. Like, you will be dead, and your family will be dead, so, like, might as well follow my orders. And I was waiting for him to say that. And so, I was, like, so shocked when Jake put down the gun. And like, also, we've talked about,
capitalism is a hellscape, so
yeah,
I kind of get it.
I mean, I honestly, I really don't get it.
Okay, I think the royalty thing is stupid, but I do think the whole, like, okay, like, you want to go back to your normal life? Well, you're gonna be unemployed and working, like, minimum wage, and... you
won't be able to sustain your family, blah blah blah.
like, if your mom trips and falls down the stairs, then it's over for her, or whatever. Like, I do get it, but I think that the way that it was presented was not very convincing, and ending on "you'll be royalty" being what, like, motivates Jake feels off.
Yeah, especially because he literally just threatened his family, like, his embowelment.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, it's just the way they... It's not like they were making a commentary about capitalism this episode. You know? They were like, capitalism is the root of all evil. And literally what the demonic powers that be have used to control and manipulate humanity. Like, they weren't saying that.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like making that argument is, like, a little bit faulty. Yeah. Hate it. Hate it so much. One, Jake should have been the one to kill this guy.
Yes.
I do not care, Sam and Dean.
Yeah. He should have just shot, and then that was the end of season 2. Bye.
He puts down the gun, and then Jake proceeds.
Yep. So, we're at that cemetery in the middle of the pentagram, and Jake's coming in, walking towards the crypt, and, like, we see that Dean is hiding somewhere. And then Sam says, "Howdy, Jake," and a fucking arsenal of white people jump out and surround him, and it looks ridiculous. They have 4 people against 1 guy. It's stupid as shit. Like, he's 1 guy with 1 bullet, and they have 4 whiteys just surrounding him. Diversity when one of them is a woman. It's Bobby, Ellen, Sam, and Dean. It looks bad. It looks like a fucking firing squad or something. Like, it's not good. So,
well, it gets worse. So I'll tell you that.
It gets worse, I'll tell you that. Literally, okay, so Jake in this scene, it's been what?
It's a completely different guy.
He drove 50 miles. It's been, what, like an hour? What happened?
Suddenly he is like, oh, I can control like,
people's
the thing
minds.
He said, the thing he said here was like, if you open your mind,
like,
there's so many Jedi tricks you can do.
Yeah, right.
Now.
Like, he did not have an open mind about being demon bloody like an hour ago. What was happening on that car ride? Like,
he was listening to like a right-wing podcast, and he was like, suddenly I'm
he turned on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah. Exactly.
And suddenly everything changed. God, yeah. So, alright, Jake is really freaked to see Sam alive, because he's like, I super killed you, like, I cut through your spinal cord, you cannot be alive. And Bobby, like, tells him to, like, take it easy, and Jake goes all like, and if I don't, and this isn't... He's, like, not... from what we've seen, he does not seem like the type to, like, try to provoke an enemy, you know? Like, I don't know why he's doing that. I mean, I know why he's doing this, because Eric Kripke hates black people, and he wants to justify Jake's death in some way. But, like, why?
I don't know. I fucking hate this scene.
Yeah, cause like then he like goes at Sam. He's like, "What are you gonna do? Kill me?" Like, Jake, what are you doing? You have one bullet.
Yeah.
So
and like,
yeah.
Let's say that he has 1 bullet, but he can mind control everyone to kill themselves. He still can't do that with Sam. Sam will still kill you, bro.
Sam can still kill you, and he did.
And he will.
Yeah. This is just incredibly unstrategic, and I feel like the main Jake thing is being strategic. So, Jake starts, like, doing, like, a little evil laugh or whatever. And Dean says, "What are you smiling at, you little bitch?" And Dean usually tries to, like, he cares about the distinction between bitch and son of a bitch a lot, right? Like, I don't think he's ever called a man a bitch.
I know. I also took note of that. I was like, why are you calling him a bitch? And like,
Besides Sam.
Yeah. I
Like, and I think this is the Dean version of making the insult worse. I think that Dean thinks that son of a bitch is better than bitch.
Yeah.
So he's like, you don't even deserve to be the son of a bitch. You're just a bitch.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just another stone on the pile of dehumanization. And then Jake singles out Ellen, and he says, like, "Lady, do me a favor, put that gun to your head." And, okay, I know that, like, during Folsom Prison Blues, we were all like, Henriksen isn't hot anymore because he's misogynistic, but I also think that it's a deliberate choice of the writers to make the three main recurring black characters, like, in this season, Gordon, Henriksen, and Jake, like, misogynistic in some way so that we dislike them. Because he did not have this vibe at all earlier. Like, he was very respectful of Lily and Ava until he had to kill Ava.
Yeah. And like, I mean, we've reiterated over and over again, but he's not him this scene.
Yeah, I really thought he was possessed.
Because at some point his eyes glow, right?
Yeah, they glow red.
So I was like, oh, he's possessed then. And then they just never... For the entirety of the next couple of minutes, I was thinking about, like, my dilemma earlier. Like, how is he possessed on the inside?
Yeah.
And then when I realized that, like, oh no, they're just doing this... It's just him, but, like, whatever the fuck. Like, up till the point where Sam was shooting him and he was, like, saying no, no. I thought, like, oh, it's him again. He stopped being possessed. But, like, no, they just don't,
him.
Well, they just don't do anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. So, he gets Ellen to point her gun at herself. And yeah, Jake says that whole, like, that Ava girl was right. Once you give into it, there's all sorts of new Jedi mind tricks you can learn. Literally, when did you give into it? Just during the Joe Rogan show? Like, bro.
I mean, the Joe Rogan show can make you do atrocities.
Yeah, is this supposed to be like a twist? Like, is it supposed to be like, oh, you thought this whole time that he was like a cool, sympathetic guy, but actually the whole time that he's been off screen, he's been practicing his powers. Is that what they're going for?
No.
I mean, think so.
If it is, they did it so incredibly poorly that you saying that literally sounds like you're just pulling shit out of your ass. Like, it's this entire scene is so terribly written from every perspective.
Yeah, like, at least with Ava, she had like 5 months for her evil arc.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just, I feel like it says something about Supernatural's ethos. I feel like Supernatural believes that, like, some people are just born with the capacity for evil, and you can just flip that switch at any time with no actual motivation.
Yeah.
It's odd. Yeah. So, Jake tells everyone to put their guns down, except you, sweetheart, is what he says to Ellen again. Okay. And he takes the Colt out and he puts it in the crypt and starts, like, using it as a key. I don't really understand how this works. Does he just spin it around a lot?
No, he just puts it in and it starts spinning on its own. Yeah.
Did they... whatever, they made, like, a lot of automatons and stuff in, like, Victorian era or whatever. It's Samuel Cole's just a smart guy. So, this is... Yeah, okay, so this is where we get to the part of the episode where after it happened, I paused and took a half-hour break. So, his back is turned, and Sam...
They just shoot him.
It seems like... We don't see who it is. It seems like
I think it was Sam.
But mostly Sam shoots him in the back.
No, because Bobby and Dean, like, specifically get Ellen.
Okay.
So it's really just Sam. Sam does all the shooting.
Sam, like, shoots Jake in the back, like, a lot. Like 5 times or something. Right? And then
he's not yet done.
And he's not done yet. Jake falls to the ground and, like, he's bleeding profusely. He's, like, gargling blood, and he is begging Sam, like, for his life. Like, saying, like, please don't. And Sam walks over to him and shoots him 3 more times.
Yeah. And, like, they do this
like,
thing where...
blood spatters on Sam's face.
Yeah.
And he does a whole thing where he, like, wipes it off.
Wipes it off? Ugh.
Like,
fuck you, Sam.
off. So, that was bad.
Yeah.
It's... definitely, I think, the most brutal death in Supernatural thus far.
I mean, they even, like, the whole, like, blood splatter on the face, they paralleled it with, like,
Dean and the vampire.
Dean and the vampire, right? Except in Bloodlust, they made a point of being, like, Dean was deeply affected by this, and Sam himself was deeply affected by this. And this one, it's just throwaway. Like, for a moment, Dean looks at him like, huh. And then he wipes the blood off his face, and that's the only recognition we get.
In early season 2 when Sam was like, Dean, you're scaring me, except when you're hunting, when you're, like, downright terrifying because of, like, how okay you are with killing creatures. And now Sam has murdered a full-ass human being, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we need to, like, remember that this is, like, the first human that either of them have killed, and Supernatural has been so staunchly against killing humans, even, like, evil ones. And, like, it doesn't matter.
I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. Like, this is the first human that they kill.
Yeah. Like, though, I would say in Hollywood Babylon, they do let Walter get killed very easily.
No, they killed... Did they kill, like, the fucking Benders?
Did they? No, the cop shot them.
Yeah. So this is the first human they kill.
Yeah, and they breeze over that. Like, that doesn't matter because they are incredibly dehumanizing of Jake in this whole episode.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I think like at the end of this episode, like when they're leaving, I think I started tearing up because I remembered how Jake, like, cut Lily down from the windmill to, like, give her a proper funeral, and they leave his body there. And they just
leave him body there.
Like, his mom and sister are never gonna know about this because he's supposed to be in Afghanistan.
Oh.
Like, he's just there, like, in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, like, lying on the ground rotting, and his family is never gonna know, and they do not bother giving him a proper burial.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, like, a huge part of the season has also been how Sam and Dean have been accused of, like, murdering people. And it's like, no, we're good guys. We would never murder
We'll never
real
murder
people.
people.
Like, well,
Yeah.
congrats, you just murdered a human. Good job.
And it's not even a big deal to anyone.
Yeah. Also, like, Sam was, like, fucked for calling the cops on Gordon and Hunted. But also, like, a big part of Hunted was how, like, Dean sees Sam as a saint. And, like, oh, like, go on, Sam, like, kill me so that you can show, like, your true colors. And then, like, he doesn't. So I just... What is the point? Like, what's happening here? Why is any of this?
I mean, who fucking knows?
Yeah.
I wanna...
But, like, I mean, I guess I read a post that, like, one of Kripke's original plans for the first 5 seasons was that Sam was gonna become, like, Boy King of Hell in order to get Dean out of his deal. So, like, maybe this is the beginning of that arc, but also, who give a shit?
I mean, it doesn't happen, so it's
Yeah,
not like
it doesn't
we can be
happen, so, like, whatever. And also, if it was gonna happen, it didn't have to start like this. Like, yeah, every single recurring black character in this season has been an antagonist and, like, similar in a lot of ways. And it's a bad look.
And it frustrates me because they even have an entire episode as a race allegory. But, like, how about the truth of it? Eric Kripke.
Yeah, it's a race allegory, except the bad guy is a black man, and the good guys, the people with racism enacted against them, are white vampires. Cool, Eric Kripke. Cool, Sarah Gamble.
God, that was Sarah Gamble too, right?
Yeah, Bloodlust? Yeah, no, she has a bad record.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, who introduced Henriksen? I think Henriksen's a little more complex, but I think that at the beginning he's just considered a bad guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Is he a night shifter?
Yeah.
Bedland!
Bedland. To be fair, he's not, like, bad in that episode.
Yeah.
I don't think he was written poorly that episode.
Okay, yeah, it really wasn't until Folsom Prison Blues, in which case John Shaban.
Ugh.
And I don't know how casting in Supernatural works. I know that Gordon is
We've
black
talked
on
about
purpose,
this before.
But yeah, I don't know about these others. But it's a hell of a coincidence. If so. Yeah. Also, just like they totally definitely cut Lily's line after they saw who the actress was, they could have changed the script.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that did occur. And, and then the crypt bursts open and there's, like, black smoke that goes out. Whoa.
Yeah. They take cover. And then
how did the yellow-eyed demon comes past the devil's trap? Like, I get that you let all of them out, but how do they cross still?
There's, like, a shot where, like, the devil's trap has been uprooted because of the strength of the demons.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Who give a shit? Anyway, it's revealed that this is a devil's gate, a door to hell, and it has just been opened. So there's demons coming out all the time. And Dean realizes that the cult is the cult. So he's like, we can kill the yellow-eyed demon with this. So the yellow-eyed demon appears and he flings the cult towards himself. And then I actually really like the actor for
Yeah.
Azazel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the way he speaks and like the intonation of his voice is very demonic. He's like, Daddy shouldn't play with he says something.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like boys shouldn't play with daddy's guns.
Yeah. But the way he says it was like very like, ooh, creepy. Yeah. I think he fits his role well.
Right, and he has the good like snake oil, like car salesman sort of way of speaking too, and look. And it's fun.
He looks like someone who will scam you. And he will.
So he like throws Dean like against a tombstone while the other three are trying very hard to push a door closed, the crypt door.
Yeah.
Then
yeah.
But then
it's so funny. Wait, no, because like Sam gets like pushed around, right? And then like Dean goes and leaves Ellen behind, and the door like swings back open. It's like, that's kind of funny.
Sam super ditches Bobby and Ellen at the door as soon as he sees Dean get thrown around. Like, I'm so sorry, Bobby and Ellen. Right, so, and then like the demon throws Sam against a tree too. And he's like, I'll get to you later, which is exactly the season 1 finale where, like, even though Sam is his special little child, like, all he wants to do is monologue at Dean.
This entire time he monologues at Dean, and it's not even like Sam can hear it, because they specifically do a shot where it's, like, from Sam's perspective, and it's muffled.
Yeah.
So it's like, what even is the point?
Yeah, and he tells Sam, like, oh, but I'm proud of you for winning the Hunger Games. I'm so glad you did so much racism. Alright, dude. So, yeah, he tells Dean, like, thank you, because, like, all of this planned shit, it's only working because of you. Because, you know, like, there's no way that a demon can resurrect someone unless there's a deal being made. Which means, like, okay, I feel like last episode it was clear that his thing about favorites was fake. But now he's like, I, like, would have resurrected Sam to win the Hunger Games.
Yeah, which is quite unfair.
Yeah, it is not
I think who wins should win. You know?
Yeah.
Like, this Azazel guy, he's not a fair player. Surprise.
Yeah. This is a democratic process, and you are not treating the system the way it was meant to be. Yeah, so he says specifically, I liked him better than Jake. What? Sam's only power is, like, having bad dreams. Literally, what does he have going for him?
Absolutely nothing.
Right, like, Azazel says in the last episode that he likes Sam because he's, like, well-trained because of John. But, like, Jake's well-trained because he's in the military.
He's literally a soldier,
He's literally a soldier. Yeah. So, he says, like, oh, but you know, that deal was probably too good to be true. Like, you got a whole year, which is way better than your dad got. And, well, you saw what your brother just did to Jake, right? That was pretty cold. How certain are you that what you brought back is 100% pure Sam? But then they do nothing with that ever. Yeah. Also, I am mad that Sam can't hear any of it, because I thought maybe part of the point was that Sam would overhear what Azazel said about the deal.
Yeah.
But no, when he says that, like, it doesn't even cut to Sam's face. It doesn't cut to Sam's face until the end of the speech.
When they were just like, wait, we need to make sure Sam doesn't hear.
Yeah.
And so they cut to Sam. It's like, oh, okay, fine, whatever.
So, right, he keeps monologuing. He's like, what's dead should stay dead. I couldn't have done it without your pathetic, self-loathing, self-destructive desire to sacrifice yourself for your family. It's so true in that.
Now on to the funniest scene in this entire episode. I was laughing. I was genuinely laughing.
I
like
lost my mind.
Because it was the most like what the fuck scene, right?
So fucking
and then
random.
it's followed by this, which is like another type of what the fuck scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Cool. So, we're doing this. Cool.
So fucking John Winchester fucking Naruto runs at Basil and like hugs him from behind, John Zazel real, and like takes him down to the ground. Like,
yeah.
John Winchester, JDM, like he is here.
John D. Manchester.
John D. Manchester has entered the chat. And I don't know how to describe how fucking random this was. But yeah.
Okay.
He's here.
He just like fucking, they roll around. Hashtag John Zazel true thing. Until eventually, when John tackles him, he like turns to smoke, right? The smoke re-enters the body, and then the body stands up, and Dean, who is like lying by the fucking headstones, points the Colt at the demon, and then we get the iconic Dean firing the shot.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, we get
good for Dean.
Good for Dean. This is, I mean, you've seen this before, haven't you?
The shot, I suppose, but I didn't know it came from here because, again, for some reason I thought Sam was gonna be the one to kill Azazel.
Yeah. But eventually the demon dies, obviously. And then...
also, Bobby and Ellen managed to close the door, whatever.
Where Dean goes up to John, and John is like glowing. He's in a skincare commercial right now, and he's glowing, and he's like smiling serenely, and then he holds Dean by the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then like he just looks over at Sam. Who's in the distance. Sam is nowhere near this too. Sam is standing far away. Yeah. And there's this one shot where it's like two of them are on the side of the frame and Sam is in the middle, and it looks goofy as shit. It looks terrible. And I was waiting for him to let go of Dean's shoulder and go towards Sam.
No.
But it never fucking happened.
No.
Literally, he was like, even in death, Sam is not deserving of a pat on the back.
Yeah, and maybe he only patted Dean on the back because he killed Azazel, not because he loves him.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he walks towards the light.
Well, he also, Bobby and Ellen also, like, smile at him, even though they both hate his guts.
Yeah. Bobby literally pulled out a gun at this guy, but he steps back and he disappears into the light.
But like a glitch effect, like his image like glows and like judders.
Yeah, they were sending him to heaven, but there was an error, so he got sent back to hell.
Yeah, heaven was like, I don't know if we want this guy. Sad but true.
Send him back to hell.
Yeah. Oh god, we got like two like goofy like glowing deaths. or like glowing ghost going aways in this season. I think it was just to lead up to this, so you're like, don't worry, the glow means he's going to heaven and not hell. But like, it's stupid, so whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funniest thing ever. So Sam and Dean are now standing over Azazel's dead body, and once more I'm pissed that Azazel got to die with dignity with one bullet, and no one even spat on him or like stomped their boot on his face, whereas Jake got terrible death. But yeah, they're standing over his body, and they're having a bit of banter, whatever. Dean's all, check that off the to-do list, and Sam says, you did it. And Dean's like, I didn't do it alone. And then boo. And then they talk about how John climbed out of hell. Whatever. And Sam asks where Dean thinks he is now. And Dean says, I don't know. Was this what the point of hope is? Kind of the whole point is? Like, is it supposed to, like, just be here?
Who cares?
Yeah.
No, I think maybe a little bit. Because, like, I mean, it's like going into the light. Mm-hmm. Hope is kind of the whole point. And then here, it's like the same thing.
Yeah. So, right. Sam starts saying shit about, like, I can't believe this. Our whole lives we've been preparing for this, and now I don't know what to say. And I was like, is this season 1? Are we back at season 1? Like, whatever. Yeah. And he's like, I know what to say. That was for our mom, you son of a bitch. Azazel still gets the dignity of son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Also, this whole time, all I was thinking is, like, where did Bobby and Ellen go?
Yeah.
Like, they're just sitting on the ground as Sam and Dean have their whole thing.
Sam and Dean, they go to the car. And Sam is like, when Jake saw me, he was so surprised. Like, I think he really thought I was dead. And he starts asking, like, what happened after I got stabbed? And Dean is like, well, we just killed the demon. Why can't we just celebrate for a minute? But Sam is like, did I die? And did you sell your soul for me, Dean? And Dean is, like, trying to deflect. Until Sam asks, like, tell me the truth. And then Dean is like, Sam. And Sam's like, how long did they give you? And he says, 1 year. And Sam says, you shouldn't have done that. How could you do that? And Dean says, don't get mad at me. Don't you do that. I had to look out for you. That's my job. Which, like, again, fucking selfish ass. And Sam is like, what do you think my job is? You saved my life over and over, and you sacrificed everything for me. Don't you think I'd do the same for you? You're my big brother, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. So, did you get emotional in this scene?
I think I liked And What Do You Think My Job Is?
Yeah, I did like it too.
Yeah, but yeah, I if Sam had not brutally killed Jake, maybe I'd care a bit more.
I think okay, I'll finish Sam's line, which is that he says, like, I'm gonna get you out of this and I'm gonna save you no matter what. So that's what he says. And I think I wish he was just a little bit more angry. And I know that wouldn't have been productive, and that wouldn't have been a good use of the time. Yeah. But I wish there was just a little bit more resistance of, like, how could you do that? You know?
Right.
But I understand that, like, at this point in the story, that's not what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it they do the hell out of it in season 9. So, like...
Right. I mean, maybe
fine.
I'd like if, like... I don't know, Dean, like, had, like, a... Like, you're taking this better than I thought you would, and Sam had, like,
Yeah.
like, my biggest regret when Dad died was that our last conversation was that we fought.
Was
if
a
we
fight,
only have
yeah.
a year together, I'm not gonna waste it being mad at you. Like, I feel like if they just added that in, it'd be more satisfying.
Yeah. But, whatever. Anyway, Ellen comes in and it's like, back to the plot. Yellow-eyed demon is dead, but there's so many demons scattered around, and Sam is like, maybe 100, maybe 200. It's gonna be an army. So they unleashed an army, and Bobby is like, well, I hope you boys are ready, because the war has just begun.
He literally said
I'm an
there's
angel with a shotgun.
But, like, that's literally what he said at the end of season 1. Like, there's, like,
Yeah.
a storm coming. Like, there's a war coming. And you're all in the middle of it. And, like, we had a whole season, and now it's like, there's a war coming, and you're in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's just a never ending, oh my god, there's something coming.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah. And then we get because, like, in this scene, Sam is in the foreground and Dean is in the background.
Yeah. No, this pissed me off.
And then they, like, so, like,
Camera, like, unfocuses
after,
on Sam and
unfocuses on
refocuses
Sam.
Dean.
Yeah, and then Dean is like, well done. And then he smiles. This is actually, like, a pretty much constantly screen cap scene. Like, Dean smiling here.
Huh.
Yeah, I see it a lot. And, like, it's people being like, he just gave his life for his brother, but he's still smiling. Blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm so evil today. I'm so sorry, everyone. Anyway, they recreate the scene from, like, where's this scene from? It's season 1.
Episode 1, end of the pilot. When Sam returns to hunting after Jess's death. Yeah,
they recreate that scene. We got work to do, and then they close the lid. End of season 2.
Boo. Boo. I don't want to be too negative, but also not feeling it, guys.
Not feeling it. Never felt it. No, I did feel it at the beginning of season 2, I feel. And for a little bit in the middle, but now, right now, towards the end, I feel like we got, like, a little bit fatigued with, like, the themes and motifs and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because it was, like, a little bit repetitive, and then when it wasn't repetitive, it was just completely ignored. And it's like, well, why don't you do something else?
Yeah. And I think we're also upset that I'd say the 2 episodes we liked the most, which are Houses of the Holy and then, what was it, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, were all hated on IMDb.
Yeah. But we'll discuss that. We'll get into it next episode where we talk about our overall season.
That is true.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
So just
and also
this episode.
Q&A stuff. Send us questions.
Oh yeah.
Please.
We forgot to say at the beginning of the episode, do send us questions.
Yeah.
Please.
Please. I know that all we've done today is be grumpy, but I promise that we'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll answer your questions gleefully.
Yes.
So furthermore, furthermore, wow, big word. No, let's just talk about this specific episode. So what are your thoughts for this specific episode?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because of the half-hour break I took in between. Like, I feel like maybe I didn't connect the pieces together as much as I would have if I'd watched it all together, but there's a lot of weird tonal shifts with Jake's characterization, with, like, grieving going to, like, a war plot, going to whatever, like, it doesn't cohere.
Yeah, I do agree. I think
And Ghost
they
of
just
John.
the ghost of John was like so fucking it was like blink and you miss it too, right?
Right, I had no idea it was gonna happen. Did you remember that this happened?
I do remember that John's comes back, and then like when he shows up, I'm like, oh, it's this episode, and I was like, well, that makes sense that it's this episode
Yeah,
because
'cause
it
he
couldn't
can come
have
out
been
of
in
hell.
further, yeah. But like, my God, is it so fucking yeah? And
I would
not
assume
desirable.
that this scene would be like memed to hell because it's so funny, but I haven't seen a single post about it, and I don't know what that says.
The only post I've seen about it is about how his outfit, this scene, is the same outfit that Lucifer as Nick wears.
So true.
So like, so there was this like one post that was speculating once that like maybe that guy was Lucifer.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Perhaps I'll take it too. He was Lucifer, and John is still rotting in hell. Yeah. So best line, worst line.
I did really like, and what do you think my job is? Despite how much I hate Sam this episode, I feel like it's short and it works very well because Dean looks like shocked at the implication that any familial like obligation or love that he feels is mutual. And I think it's a good moment of like, I know this entire fucking season has been Dean centric, but remember that Sam is also a person who
Yeah,
also
like-
feels the same amount of responsibility towards his brother.
Yeah, like he has motivations too.
Yeah.
He's a human being too. And for me, I'll start with my worst line. My worst line is, "I'll tear that son of a bitch apart," whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I literally I know that they kill Jake in a way that's bad, like, you know. But I didn't know that it was going to be particularly from Sam, and I didn't know that like it was going to be for the motivations and the reasons that it happened.
Like premeditated revenge murder.
Yeah. So like when Sam said this, I really shock of my fucking life. So I hate it for that.
Yeah. I think that's
What's your
also-
worst line?
Honestly, I
Let's
feel like
do
that's-
that first.
That also feels like my worst line.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much any line that's bad to Jake. Actually, maybe I'll take the, like, once you give into it, there's all sorts of new Jedi mind tricks you can learn line. Because it makes no fucking sense. And they just wanted to make him evil for no reason.
For me, I think my best line is when Dean says, "My life could finally mean something," and Bobby replies, "Like it didn't mean anything before." That one quite got to me. Okay, IMDb rating. I think this is gonna be lower than last episode.
What was last episode? Like 9.3 or something?
9.3. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like people are still... I don't know, I feel like people like this, though, maybe? I'm 8.9.
8.9?
I
would
like
go...
it, but I feel
Actually,
it's high.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
I think this is an 8.8. 2. Okay, I'm looking it up now. Holy shit!
Were you right?
No, it's a 9.4.
What? I'm so tired, you guys. For what? Oh, well, people care about Dean, right? They'd probably be like, OMG, I super cried at his monologue. You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe for the time, because, most people are watching this or rating this while watching it the first time back then. So, like, maybe at the time it was good for what it was.
Yeah.
I mean... Oh, this one says disappointed.
Yeah? Yeah? What does it say?
I hate asking a question and only getting more questions as answers. I had a university professor who did this and it drove me crazy. Yeah, and it's like nobody knows whatever happens. Disappointing and frustrating to watch an entire season with such a whimper of a climax. Yeah. So Dean selling I found the plot twist so out of line with the character development of Dean in the last 2 seasons regarding the selling his soul. Do you agree with that?
No, I think Dean selling his soul is very in character.
I do think it's in line with his character. Although I do still think, like I said, it's selfish and like it's like, don't you ever learn, boy? Like, your dad sold your soul for you, and now you're doing it again. But it does make sense for him to do it. Like, it's frustrating to watch, but he is stupid.
Yeah. Okay, there's another low review. There's a 5 out of 10. They said that, they said, do you have to go on and on with the forced sentimentality? Almost half the episode features either Sam or Dean emoting about some BS or another. It bored the pants off me.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Like, it feels forced, this episode. Remember, like, that episode where they were like, the Striga episode, what was that, right?
Uh-huh.
The one where they were it ends with, like, I wish I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Dean was like, if it's anything, I wish you were as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, that episode was, like, super sentimental, but, like...
It worked.
It worked. And this one is, like, the sentimentality is just screaming, like, about your feelings. And it's like, well, we can show that in other ways.
Yeah.
I love that at this point in the show, we just read the negative review.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care about the positive ones.
I don't care for people who give
them.
it 10 out of 10. Exactly. Anyway, that's it for this episode of Bus Asian Beauties. Next week, we'll be discussing the season 2 next week we will be discussing season 2 in general, as well as doing a Q&A for season 2. So send in your questions. Deadline September 18, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Woo!
Woo! Yeah. So, wait, where am I?
Leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow us on social media. We are on Twitter at twitter.com/beautiespodcast and on Tumblr at bustyasianbeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPod, BABPod, and thank you to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/bustyasianbeautiespod.
You can email us any feedback, comments, or inquiries and questions at bustyasianbeautiespod@gmail.com. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.